Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. So I've recently come back from a holiday. I've been away for about a week and I thought I'd jump on here and take you guys through some of the plant chores that I've got to get through, give you some updates on how my plants have fared whilst we have been away. In the lead up to my holiday, I did let my plants dry out so that I could water them all sort of the day before we were due to fly. We've been away for just over a week, so I think it was about 8 days in total. And I'm pretty pleased with how the majority of the plants have fared. We have had sort of one fatality, a few yellowing leaves here and there, and for the most part they all do just need a bit of a water. My moss poles are a bit dry, so I'll just need to pop those guys in the bath and water them through. But yeah, before we do get into the video, if you're new here, hi, my name's Amy and this is my jungle. If you do like the video, please don't forget to give it a like, as well as hit the subscribe button for more planty content. If you're not new here, thank you again for joining me. I really do appreciate having you here. Now, I'm going to, I think, start with giving you guys some updates on the plants and how they've done while I've been away. And then I'll probably look to go through my to-do list. I have got a few plants that are dry that I do want to repot and add onto moss poles, so I'll probably look at doing that before I then water the rest of the moss poles. I've got some plants that I do want to take propagations of here and there. So yeah, if you guys want to grab a cup of tea or a cold drink, or even if you've got some plant chores that you'd like to do alongside me, feel free to do that and we'll get into the video. So there has been one fatality while we have been away. My sundew, which I was supposed to take to my mum so that my nan could continue to water it as frequently as it needed while I was away, and yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to bring this one back, but yeah, I think this is definitely one that's going to go in the bin and I will look to replace it. I'm really gutted because I do like my coniferous plants. But like I say, I'll probably look to replace it over the next week or so. Maybe even get another Nepenthes, because I used to have one of those that was growing really well in my kitchen, but unfortunately that one also, I think I underwatered it. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, RIP sundew. On a brighter note, my Burrow's Tail succulent appears to be doing quite well and enjoying its new spot by the window where it's getting a lot more light. I am probably going to have to rethink this as we get into winter and move it closer to one of my grow lights, just so that we can continue with the growth that it is putting out. But I'm really pleased with how this is looking, and I don't know if you can see, but some of the bits that have fallen off have also started pushing up new growth as well. These guys up here have been doing well. I've got no concerns about them since I've been away. My variegated peace lily, I think, has been quite happy. She has since put out this flower while we have been away. So yeah, really pleased with that. Again, this linearis here, gonna look to take some cuttings because she's getting quite long. I think I might end up lopping back to about here. And then propagating in water and adding those back in up the top, but I will decide that when it comes to chopping. These guys again seem to be enjoying their new spot here where they are trailing nicely. Not sure whether or not I'm going to keep them in the hanging baskets that they're in, or if I'll look to actually get baskets that fix onto the wall, but we will see. My Gloriosum, while we've been away, has pushed out this new leaf. I can't get over, like, this plant was one I thought I was going to lose when I first got it. It dropped down to this one leaf here and has since pushed out 3 leaves in the past couple of months. I can see that some of my cats have been in the soil here, so I'll definitely be giving the room a bit of a hoover as well. Going back up here, this Black Pagoda lipstick plant is flowering at the moment. It's got quite a few flowers coming in. I think it's got on its way out, a dead one there. But this was from like 2 cuttings, and yeah, she's pushing out new growth left, right and centre. So yeah, she's done well. Have also noticed, so before I went away, this little new growth here on my fern leaf cactus was only just starting to show, and I have just noticed that we have another little frond coming out here, so yeah, quite excited to see how that goes. The guys here are all doing quite well. We got new leaf on my Hoya. Ooh, which Hoya are you? Crustophylla, I think it is. So yeah, got some new leaves coming out on there. And my Australis Lisa appears to be doing quite well as well. Like I say, I got not much to report on these guys. Although finally my Philodendron Ring of Fire is actually doing something. Not from the main bit of growth here, but from an offshoot. We've had this new leaf come out, and then we've got another one here that it's currently working on, so pleased to see that. Over on my plant shelf, the main thing that I've noticed is we've got a few yellowing leaves here and there, so just look to take that one off. Again, like I say, a lot of them do need watering. My alocasia, these guys were working on their new leaves just before we went away, so those have fully come out. My painted lady has pushed out the most gorgeous new leaves in the time that we have been away, so I'm really excited to see how this one does continue to size up for me. See what else is there on the shelves. All of my Anthurium are doing okay at the top. I can see that the Vitarifolium is looking at pushing out a new leaf, so I'm excited to see how that's going to compare size wise to the most recent one that it has put out. We've also got my Splendid and my Glorious, so the two plants just here that are in the process of pushing out new leaves. These are the two plants that I am definitely looking at repotting and adding onto moss poles before I water all of them through. So that will probably do after I've given the updates. The varicosum cuttings are doing really well. They're just in moss. They have started to put out roots. So once they have got a substantial root system, I'll look at adding those back in with the mother plant, which is just down here, who is as well, I don't know if you see that, pushing out some new growth just down here. Everything else is doing well down here. I do need to dust over some of the leaves. It's got some hard water spots on it from where they were showered before I went on holiday. The Obliqua Peru, which I think I chopped about a month and a half ago now, is also pushing out some new growth just down here. I don't know if you can see that. So the reason this one was cut was because it had sent out just a long runner where it wasn't on a moss pole. So I'm hoping that now, fingers crossed, we'll get some new leaves instead of runners. My Milano Chrysum has also continued to size up this new leaf here. So very excited to continue to watch that grow. Oh, and exciting news, my Esqueleto cutting is also pushing out a new leaf just here. So again, very excited to see how that looks. I need to top up the moss in here. So again, something I'll add onto my to-do list, and we can look to do that a bit later. I haven't gone through my prop box yet. I can see that there are some in there that look like they have melted a little bit. So I'll just go through that probably over the next week just to have a look, pot up any propagations that are ready to be potted up and go from there. One of my other propagations, so this I took from my Monstera that's on my landing just before I went away, and we have got some roots in here. This is going to be given to my Nan because she does like my Monstera. I've also given her cuttings of my Adansonii, which is going crazy in their house. I took some cuttings from it just over here, but the size of the leaves that she's getting on it. So again, thinking that I might add this back into my Adansonii, just so that I've got some bigger leaves at the bottom, because that's one I have recently restarted and attached to a moss pole. So those I might pop in with that as well. With my terrarium, where it hasn't been opened while we've been away, we have had some mushroom growth. I don't know if you can see just here, and there's a few others in there as well. So this is one that I will be looking at opening out to remove the mushrooms. You can probably see them a bit better now. There's a few like yellow ones just over here in the corner and down there. So yeah, I'm just going to give this a clean out, get rid of the mushrooms that are in there, potentially look at pruning back some of the plants that are in here as well, and maybe adding those into a prop box. Although I think they have got some really good aerial roots on them, so I might be able to just pop them up in like a humidity dome or a cloche, and then either acclimatise them to general room humidity or look to you know, give them away or swap them. But yeah, so that's more sorting out the mushroom issues that are in there. Now this monstera on my upstairs landing has also given me a new leaf while we've been away. Again, still hardening off. This is quite a juvenile plant, so yeah, quite excited to see how it continues to grow going forwards. And speaking of monstera, we've also got my albo, which had started to put out this nice new leaf. As you can see, it's like lighter than the others, but this is the most recent leaf it's finished unfurling whilst we've been away. This plant has been doing amazingly since I have moved it into this spot and given it its own sort of grow light here. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this continues to grow, and I can't wait for her to start fenestrating. I'm hoping it's going to be sort of the next couple of leaves, and then we'll start to see those fenestrations. Everything else in the bedroom is doing okay. Like I say, the majority of what needs doing is a lot of watering, but there are some plants that I'm probably going to look at propagating as well. So I think I mentioned on my most recent repot of this plant that I was going to look to propagate it. I'm not hugely happy with how she's growing, so that is one thing that I think I am going to do now, because then I can monitor the propagation as well. She has also got a yellow leaf down at the bottom that I'm going to remove as well, so I'm just going to do that now. Get rid of that one. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to look to propagate her from here, just above this aerial root that's going down into the pot. And that way she's got 2 aerial roots up here that we can pop into a vessel of water. I think I'm probably going to go for. And I have noticed that this has started to bend, so it's a leaf I'm not too concerned about losing as part of the propagating. So to put these in here. Let's see. That is our top cut of our monstera. Like I say, I am probably going to take this leaf off as it's broken the whole way through. This is one I'm going to leave it to callus over. So I'm going to give this some time to callus over before I do look at popping it in some water. I'm now going to take some cuttings of my Hoya linearis. I think maybe up to about here. Ooh. Maybe a little bit higher. I think maybe we'll go. It's funny, there are plants that I really don't mind chopping and others that I am very concerned about. I might leave that one. Very concerned about chopping. This one, since I've had it, has grown like a weed. So I'm not overly concerned, and like I say, I'm gonna have these few bits here. It's the one thing with Hoya, they do secrete sap. You guys can see that, but my Hoya cutting, so these I'm going to give a chance to callus over, and then again we'll look to pop them in some water. I found that's the easiest method for me for propagating Hoya. Just going to pop the end on some tissue just so that it doesn't get on anything, and then I at least know which end I'm going to be putting in water. I feel like I've been very snip happy in this video so far, but yeah, I think she looks okay at that length, and like I say, she'll grow back in no time, so I'm not too concerned about it. So normally I would do this with my potting mat down, but as I'm going to hoover in here, I'm just going to make a mess on the floor and then tidy it up. I've got my escalator here, so I want to add in moss up until the next point where there is likely to be a node, and that's just to encourage root growth into the moss pole. So I'll probably look at doing that one first. Then I am going to repot my Philodendron Glorious and give that a moss pole, and then also my Philodendron Splendid, and that's just because I want to give these guys the opportunity to climb and size up. Like I said, I'm going to start with the Escalato first, so I just think that's going to be the quickest and easiest one to do. Just grabbed a chopstick so that I can use it to pack it down a bit where my hands can't necessarily reach as far. So that's that one done. Just move that out the way. As I say, I'm going to be watering all of my moss poles in a bit, so right now, still trying to figure out the best way to add moss poles to my pots. As of yet, I'm just winging it. So if you guys have got any tips in the comments and the best way to add moss poles onto your plants, do let me know. Any tips and hints would be greatly appreciated. Okay. What I have been doing when I've been doing my moss poles is actually filling in with moss up to the point that it reaches the line of the pot, then adding in soil and upending to turn it up the right way. Sometimes I'll just put this in, fill with soil, and then add the moss in after. Really not found one way that works better or worse than the other. So like I say, normally I would be doing this on my potting mat, but I can't be asked to sort it all out at the moment, so I'm just going to do it this way. So that's fine with moss, and now I thought I'd got everything I needed out and got the pot mix. So I'm just using Soil Ninja's Monstera and Philodendron mix, which is my go-to. I think what I'm going to do is stand that in there to catch any loose bits of soil as we pot it up. Do the glorious first. So I can use the mix this in here already. I'm just going to give it a squeeze to loosen the plant. Good roots in here. I'm pleased about that. Let that sit in there for a second. And I'm going to use this soil that was already in there just to create a base layer and help stabilise the pot. And so I'm going to opt for one of these to better catch the potting mix and keep the pot stable. So, be reused. Now I'm just going to backfill, and then I will get some plant tape so that I can just keep this as close to the moss as possible to encourage these nodes to produce roots that will grow into the moss as well. I'm just realising that now I'm putting these two on moss poles that I'm going to have a bit of a rearrange because they're no longer going to fit on the shelf that they were on. But I have an idea roughly where I want these to go anyway, so we'll do that while the plants are, once I've watered them and they're just draining in the bathroom. One, I say I'll just use some plant tape to help keep this as close to the moss as possible, and remembering to keep the moss moist so that the roots are likely to grow into it, as they will seek moisture. There's one. And now we'll do the Splendid. And that is the Splendid done as well, and same with the Glorious. I'm going to just use some plant tape so that we can make sure these nodes here remain in contact with the moss to encourage the roots to grow in. So because these poles are completely dry, I'm going to be giving them a water with the shower head just so I can make sure the moss is completely saturated. I've realised that I'm going to have to reorganise this shelf behind me because the moss poles are now not going to fit. What I'm thinking is turning this into a Hoya shelf. So I have a couple just on here on the plant bench. I'm probably going to move those up onto the shelf and then have it so my moss poles are on there. I am looking at getting another shelving unit that can then go in this corner for the rest of the Scindapsus and pothos to go on. Yeah, so what I'll probably do is look at time-lapsing this so you guys can see what we do, and I'll show you the results when I'm done. So I've had a rearrange of the plants on these shelves, and what I have done is I've popped my Hoya up here. So I've got my larger Hoya towards the back, and then some of my smaller Hoya and propagations, plus the varicosum cutting all on this shelf now. Down on this one, I've popped my Philodendron Glorious, varicosum, Splendid, Thai Constellation, Obliqua, and a medium silver, and that's just so they've got a bit more room to grow. And the other two that were on here have now been moved onto the end of my plant shelf, so my Philodendron Florida Green and Pink Princess. I do have a couple of other moss pole plants that will be going up here as well, but like I say, I do want to get a shelving unit for over here so that the guys on here, my Scindapsus and pothos, can all move on to that shelving unit. Next thing I think I'm going to do is head into the bedroom to look at doing the terrarium, but yeah, really pleased with how these shelves are looking now. With the terrarium, I am going to just use a spoon so that I can scoop out the mushrooms. Once I've got those out, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a wipe around and then leave the lid off for a little bit so it can breathe. I'm not sure how much of this you are going to be able to see. Like I say, there's a couple of mushrooms sort of here and there. There's one right down here that I can see. But yeah, I'm just going to go in and get those out first.
Okay, so as I say, I've gotten out the bits of mushroom that were in there and given the sides a wipe down. Going to leave the top off for now just so that it can air out for a bit, and pop it back on in about 10-15 minutes. But as you can see, we've removed the mushrooms that were growing in here.
The last couple of bits I've got left to do is just a lot of watering in here. Like I say, I've been gone for about 8 days. I didn't have anyone coming in to water my plants, so I'm going to crack on with that. You guys have seen videos of me watering before, so I won't bore you with that footage again. I am going to end the video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a like if you had, and hit that subscribe button to subscribe to the channel for more planty content. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye.